There are 5 emotions that every public speaker needs to identify in an audience. It doesn't matter how big your audience size is right now, or even what event that you're speaking at. I guarantee you that these are 5 of the most important, if not the most important emotions that your audience is facing right now. Today, I'm going to walk you through what each of these 5 emotions are and how you as a speaker can responsibly guide these emotions to create a greater impact with your message. Hi, I'm Jon Cook. I'm the founder of Keynote Content, helping clarify your message so you can elevate your impact and income as a speaker, coach, or consultant. As a public speaker, it's essential to be aware, what is my audience feeling right now? And recognizing and understanding the different emotions that can help you create an engaging presentation and make a lasting impact. And after working with over 900 public speakers one-on-one across 40 plus industries, I've discovered that these are the 5 most important emotions that an audience can present. I need to make a quick but vital clarification. Just because it is one of the 5 most common emotions doesn't mean that each of these 5 emotions is going to be present in every audience. As speakers, we have an incredible responsibility to never use emotion to manipulate our audiences. Please only use this information to serve your audience with integrity. So if we're on the same page with that, here are 5 essential emotions that you as a speaker need to be able to identify in any given audience. The first emotion is fear. Now, wait a second, Jon. Are you saying that I need to use fear when speaking with my audience? Let me be clear. Absolutely not. In no way am I telling you to use fear when you're sharing on a stage, on a podcast, or in front of any audience. We want to approach our audience's emotions with integrity and care. When I say fear is the first emotion you need to identify, your audience doesn't need you to remind them what they're afraid of. They already know what they're afraid of. That doesn't serve your audience well, talking about, here's what you're afraid of. But speakers who get into this fear-mongering or trying to scare their audience into action, you're doing a massive disservice. We both know that fear can be a powerful emotion. We need to be able to recognize when our audiences are feeling afraid. Now, this could be due to a specific part of your presentation or even the overall topic. And as a speaker, this can influence how receptive that your audience is to what you say. Instead of using this emotion, you have the power to diffuse this emotion by addressing any anxieties or apprehensions that your audience may have about the topic, and then providing reassurance and solutions. If you recognize that your audience is afraid, you as a speaker can connect in that moment by lowering your voice, by leaning in, even maybe getting off the stage at that moment, standing in the aisle, getting in front of the first row, looking around, pausing, and then giving them the reassurance that they need. What does your audience need you to say in that moment? It might sound something like this. This isn't easy to talk about. I get that. I see that. I see it in your eyes. I see it in your faces. It can be scary to be talking about this, to be facing this, but it's going to be okay and that's when you give this reason, this explanation. Can I show you how to face this fear with a plan to overcome it, and then maybe take the teeth out of fear for good? Can we do that together? Is that okay? That reassurance, that empathetic tone, and the heart behind what you're saying, showing with your body and your voice that you truly care, that will help put whatever fear may be, and it'll help put it to rest. The second emotion that you need to be able to identify in your audience is curiosity. And this is what stops the endless kind of thumbing through your phone or walking through a restaurant of TVs, or maybe it snatches your attention kind of strolling down the street. Your audience is naturally curious. Who is this person? What are they going to say? What are they going to do next? And when an audience is curious, they're engaged and interested in what you have to say as a speaker. This is a great emotion to tap into because it has endless possibilities. It can help keep the audience engaged and focused on your presentation. But at the same time, curiosity is like momentum. Once it's lost, it can be extremely difficult to get going again, unless you tilt the scale in your favor. Curiosity looks like people leaning forward in their seats. It's stretching their necks out longer. It's nostrils more flared with relaxed breathing, and nobody's looking to either side or down. They're not doing the Scooby-Doo, looking around to see what else is happening in the audience or auditorium. When you see those signs, that's when you lean into the moment more for greater curiosity. Fascination. That's another emotion that speakers can evoke in their audience. When an audience is fascinated by a topic, they are deeply interested and engaged, which can help make your presentation more meaningful and impactful. So how is fascination different than curiosity? Well, I define fascination as intense interest, often in an unexpected way or situation. Curiosity, that's a spark. It's what piques their interest. But fascination is what holds their interest longer. Curiosity is a table full of objects, the black sheet. All your audience sees is bumps and shapes and what's under the tablecloth, what's under the sheet. But fascination is uncovering the first object, and it's a candle that's already lit. How did that not burn up the black sheet? That's fascinating. It holds their interest because it's unexpected. They're fascinated to know, what are you going to do next? The fourth emotion that you need to be able to identify in your audience is desire. And desire can be a very effective emotion if you tap into it with care and responsibility. When an audience desires something, they're motivated, they're driven, they want to be able to make a change or take action right now. So it's probably helpful at this point for me to share a little bit of my background. I'm currently pursuing postgraduate studies in neuroscience. And at a basic level of neuroscience, we have 3 different types of brain chemicals: neurotransmitters, neuropeptides, and gastrotransmitters. So let's forget about gastrotransmitters right now, just for the sake of this conversation. That's more physiological instead of psychological. And instead, we're going to focus on neurotransmitters and neuropeptides. So inside this group, again, at a level 0 conversation about neuroscience, there's a quartet of brain chemicals called dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and beta endorphins, a specific type of endorphins. Now, these are often referred to as the happy chemicals because they're closely connected to this idea of activating specific positive emotions and desires. So let's focus on only dopamine in this moment. You're familiar with its name. You're probably even more familiar with how it makes you feel. And dopamine is closely tied to this idea of desire. What do you want? What do you want more than anything else in the world? Or what do you have that you don't want? And what are you willing to sacrifice to fulfill that desires? It's why we go to such extraordinary lengths to feel loved and accepted and respected and maybe even envied. Your audience has many desires, but in that moment, on that stage, in front of that crowd, what is the one desire that you can identify and fulfill for your audience that will leave them wanting even more from you? Answer that, and you are in the business of bottling lightning. So this 5th emotion, it's one of the most misunderstood emotions because it's also an emotion that can be easily manipulated. Again, that's not what we ever want to do with our audiences. If we truly understand why this emotion exists and the driving forces behind it, it's a door of opportunity to serve our audiences better than anybody else. This emotion, this 5th emotion, is angst. Angst is the feeling of anxiety or an unease. It's often accompanied by the sense of dread or this foreboding. It can feel like a heavy weight is just pressing down on your chest, making it more difficult to breathe or even think clearly. It can also manifest as a nagging worry, maybe in the back of your mind, or a feeling of this restlessness or this edginess. We can't control people's mindsets or their emotional states when they walk into an event, or when they log on for a virtual summit, or they start listening to a podcast. That's not our responsibility. But once you step on that stage, once you get in front of that mic, you have an incredible opportunity to take responsibility in guiding what your audience is feeling. There will be people in your audience who are feeling angst. They're feeling stress or anxiety, uncertainty, maybe even that dread, that foreboding, that pressure and that weight on their chest. You can't even breathe. If your audience is experiencing a crisis, if your industry is going through a crisis, it's an emotional roller coaster. The economy takes a tumble, or it's a massive wave of disruption like AI is doing to virtually every industry right now. Your audience is probably feeling angst across the entire group. So how do you address angst as a speaker? You bring hope. You bring real solutions. You shine a light on uncertainty, and how you help your audience understand exactly what they may be stressed about right now and how you can help them regain their confidence and take some of the pressure out of that stress and angst. Fear, curiosity, fascination, desire, and angst. These all affect how someone receives and processes what you're saying as a speaker. If you can identify these emotions inside your audience, if you can identify them even beforehand, and then tailor your message accordingly, you can have the optimal impact on your audience for good. And if you love what I shared today, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe to catch more of my videos about clarifying your message so you can elevate your impact and income as a speaker, coach, or consultant. And one of the greatest opportunities that you have as a speaker is to create a powerful signature talk. What's a signature talk? This is the main talk that you share as a public speaker, whether that's for a conference as a keynote speaker, or in a breakout session, on a webinar, in an online course, on a training, and a virtual mastermind, any other type of speaking opportunity. And while working with that many speakers one-on-one, I recognize that there are many ways to create your signature talk, but create a video that walks you through the exact process, the entire structure that I use with clients to help create highly impactful and profitable signature talks. So hit play on this next video. I'll see you there.